This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
I don't know if this is a podcast, but it's the three of us, and we're talking about the NBA, so fuck it, it's a podcast.
I was going to say, weren't we just here doing this like a week ago?
We were
just here doing this
literally
like a
just
day
here
ago?
yesterday.
Yes.
But we're
doing this exact thing, but with trades.
Yes and no. We're doing a live mock draft 7.0. No trades this time. We're all going to be the GM of a team. We're going to follow an order. It's going to be 1 minute to make your pick. No trades, so it should go fairly quickly. We'll make the pick, we'll explain it, and then we'll just move on. It'll be pretty fun. We'll move fairly quickly. This won't be a 3-hour podcast, thankfully.
Yeah.
But if you do want to support us, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We had Jake on, and we had our boy Z on yesterday. We just talked to Christian as well for the monthly Patreon in July. It was absolutely fantastic, super fun. So if you do want to check that out, head over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast if you want to help support us. Also check out mostvaluablepodcast.com so you don't miss anything that we post, and also go over to iTunes to rate the Fast Break 5 stars. It helps us out so much. Also, since you're there, just rate the Onside Kick 5 stars. Just rate the Time Podcast 5 stars. And just rate Rick and Johnny 5 stars, because they're all great podcasts. But it's going to be a fairly simple video we're doing today. Very simple podcast. Live mock draft 7.0. Today is June 16th. We are 5 days away from the NBA draft. No trades. Dave will be the GM of the Suns, Mavs, Cavs, 76ers, Jazz, Pacers, Lakers, Warriors, Rockets, and the Thunder. Thunder don't have a pick, but he will still just be them in case. I don't know. Ricky is the Hawks, Grizzlies, Bulls, Hornets, Spurs, Celtics, Pelicans, Raptors, Pistons, and Nuggets. And I am the GM of the Kings, Magic, Knicks, Clippers, Wizards, Bucks, Blazers, Wolves, Nets, and the Heat. So it should be very fun. And first on the clock is Dave Oster with the Phoenix Suns.
I'm going to need the full minute for this one. I'm going to really stretch out my legs on this, get all good. Because, there's a lot of things Phoenix could do.
I forgot I got to use the clock for this one.
They could take a lot of guys.
Who's on the board?
Really, there's two. I mean, there could be three. There could be three. Because I've been hearing, some Marvin Bagley jumping up the board at people.
Our boy Z gave us that info.
Yeah, so Z's a little concerned about that. Because I think DeAndre is the clear and away number one in most people's eyes. Everybody loves. It seems like it is kind of a split. It's like DeAndre has the chance to be physically something special. Luka already is something special. Age 19, he's a proven winner, champion MVP, all that crazy accomplishment level. But how much higher is his top end than where he's at now? Where can that take him? But I'm going with the obvious one. I'm taking DeAndre Ayton. I'm the Suns. I want someone that I can pick and roll with. I want someone that can be dynamic, dominating his position, and just a force.
Well, and if you ever heard the segment, it was a fairly easy pick for you because 90, like our boy Z said, 99.9% chance that most likely DeAndre Ayton's going to be picked by the Suns. And we bash on his defense, but Z was high on his switching. And again, we talk about the presence that he is on the inside with the ability to stretch out with Bender, with Josh Jackson, with Devin Booker. Having him on the inside is going to be an absolute nightmare. So if you haven't checked out how DeAndre Ayton fits with the Phoenix Suns, definitely check that out because Z gave us some great info. Being a Phoenix Suns fan, but DeAndre Ayton off the board, and the Sacramento Kings are now on the clock.
The timer.
If I am the Sacramento Kings, Marvin Bagley's been thrown out there, Jaren Jackson's out there, but I look at that power forward situation. You have Scale, you have Harry Giles. At the center position, you have Willie Cauley-Stein. You have Buddy Hield. You have good old Bogdanovich. And you also have De'Aaron Fox. There is a hole, though. I was not a fan of Justin Jackson last year at UNC. I wasn't a fan of him as an NBA pro. Started a lot of games for the Kings. Didn't do too much for them. I think you need to get a game changer out there. I think you need to give De'Aaron Fox a little bit of a break and give him the opportunity to work a little bit off ball just because he is so quick and he might be able to cut to the basket a little bit more. And I know Bojan is a pretty good ball handler in his own damn right, but having another guy with leadership, having another guy that's been there, having a guy that's also friends with Bogdanovich, I think Luka Doncic is clear and far away the easiest and for sure pick in this draft. Luka Doncic for the Kings is the pick. It's a safe pick. It's the right pick. Kings, get your centerpiece of your franchise in Luka Doncic.
Well, I'm actually glad you made that pick because for me, I think that the Kings are the swing position in this entire first round because if you go Luka, you make things easier for the Hawks, for the Grizzlies, even for the Mavericks, because it's like, all right, do we take the American big, or do we take Luka? Well, with you going with Luka, you just made the Hawks' decision easy, where, you know what? If Bagley's going to fall to us, I'm going to take Bagley at 3, because it becomes the situation of, if Bagley's off the board by the Kings, all right, is it Triple J, is it Luka, or what I'm hearing for the Hawks is Mo Bamba's rising up the board for them. So is it Bamba at the 5? Is it Triple J at the 4? Or is it Luka?
Or is it Trey Young?
But with you going with Luka, now it basically becomes the 4 or the 5. Well, I'm going to move John Collins to the 5. I'm going to have Bagley play the 4. Or I could have John Collins play the 4 and Bagley play the 5. Because the one thing that Bagley keeps talking about in his interviews is that he sees himself as kind of a positionless player, to where it's like, I'll start at the 4, but I'm going to be kind of floating all the way around the court.
Is that because the knock on him is he doesn't have a position?
It
in the
could
NBA?
be that. Or I also see that as kind of like, I wonder, like for Bagley, and I'm not making a direct comparison, but I'm going to bring it up. I wonder if the NBA, if he's on the right team, if he'll be a Draymond Green for a team. Where Draymond, hey, I'm going to start you down at the 4 or the 5, but you're going to come out and guard some guards on switches if we need to. I wonder if he's going to do that for a team at the next level. Too bad the kid
can't play defense. I mean, literally, Coach K, the guy's been coaching for 40, probably 50 years. I don't know how long he's been coaching. Literally, he's been running the same offense at Duke for that time, and for same defense for that time at Duke, and literally switch it up because Marvin Bagley couldn't play defense. They went to a zone because Bagley can't play defense. And one big thing that Lord Pierce is talking about is defense. So I understand the pick. I mean, everyone in our comments is massively high on Marvin Bagley.
Well, and
offensively,
that's why
he's a freak. He's athletically gifted.
He's in the same realm as Blake and Aaron Gordon. Like,
kid can't play damn defense.
He's got a body.
So, I mean, that's the biggest concern for me, is that he can't play defense. John Collins really can't play defense. The only guy that can play defense on that team right now is Taurean Prince. So that's my biggest worry, is that if you have a guy talking about defense in Lloyd Pierce, and you take the guy in defensively who is the worst, but offensively he can end up being the most versatile.
And that's why for me it would go, if this is how it plays out, it would be Bagley's number 1 on the board, Bamba is the 2nd on the draft board, Triple J is then number 3.
Interesting.
Why that ranking, though?
Because for me, I look at the Hawks in general. Yeah, you've got Pierce talking about defense, but that team doesn't really have a ton of offense from anybody. Like, they're a team that they have Schroeder and Collins is the only ones we've been talking about.
Taurean Prince.
They have Taurean Prince too, but we haven't been talking about him as much throughout this draft process. Bagley's got the offense and is clearly the higher-rated player of the 3. And then when it comes to Bamba, yeah, he's got defense just like Triple J, but to me, I'm more confident in his offensive ability than I am with Triple J. That's why I would put
Bagley's just be easy with the motor.
Too.
I mean, that's all he is.
Hey, I'm just talking it out there, just throwing it out there, giving reasons. I think people are gonna be happy that Bagley's off the board at 3, because people were upset that I had him at 7. In our 6.0.
Just like people are gonna be happy Luka's off the board at 2.
Mavs fans should be thanking me. I traded back, got you another pick, and still got a guy who fit your team at 7. Like, come on, I was a great GM there.
Ricky up again.
And Ricky's up again, the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies are easy, Triple J. Like, there's no decision. Sure. It's the thing of, you know what, we already have Marc Gasol. We don't need Bamba. The 4 is a position that we've been talking about all draft process for the Grizzlies. I'm going to take the best available in Triple J and put him right next to Gasol.
Why no MPJ? Because it seems like MPJ territory.
If it's the only way I see MPJ being taken at 4 is if a team like the Bulls or the Clippers trade up to get him.
I mean, he fits for the Grizz.
I don't see, he fits for the Grizz, but with the injury questions, you want to draft a guy with injury questions when you have Chandler Parsons and Conley, who are both injured on your team consistently. You want to add another one to that?
It's fair, but also Memphis is one of the worst run GM teams in the league, so I wouldn't be too shocked. Dave, you're up.
Speaking of Michael Porter Jr.
Oh.
Why wouldn't you go Michael Porter Jr. here if you're the Mavericks? You have idea
over Mo Bamba?
Yeah, get off Mo Bamba's dick.
No.
I know you've been riding it for months, man.
But for like the entire draft process is like, if he falls to the Mavericks, Mo Bamba.
That was Sean's answer.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
I agree
like,
with him at times, but at this point in time, I'm saying you're the Mavericks. You're dynamic. You have Dennis Smith Jr., who has elite athleticism, who has grown as a playmaker in his time there, who just absolutely can hoop. You pair that up with someone like Michael Porter Jr., who has amazing scoring potential. He doesn't necessarily need to deliver year one for you because he's got that transition time to work with Dirk to learn how to use his body to his advantage, because you got to remember, he's a guy who's 6'11", who's put on weight because he hasn't been able to work out because of his back. He's trying to get back into great shape again. He's had, some concerns with hip spasms now before his second pro day. Like, there's so much surrounding it. What better environment would you want to be in than learning from one of the best shooting bigs in the NBA history under Dirk Nowitzki? Like, I think that this is a fit that has a ton of upside, has very little concerns for the team, because this isn't a team ready to compete yet. This is a team very much still putting together their core.
The biggest thing with him, though, is again, I talked about, when he came back, he still wanted to be the guy. And that was impressive to me, especially if you're going to be drafted this high. You need to have that mentality. And I think that's something that's typically overlooked. And again, these guys, Marvin Bagley, he was playing on a team with 5 starters that are going in this draft. So it's tough to consistently demand that. And also when Duke was winning, they were winning big. They weren't really in crunch time too often. You look at Jaren Jackson Jr., Miles Bridges was that leader on that team. He really didn't get that opportunity to really demand the ball. DeAndre Ayton was the guy they went to consistently, at the end of the games. But if they weren't shooting threes, he wasn't really a part of the offense. Michael Porter Jr. was consistently showing that he could be a part of the offense, and at least out of the top 5, it's him and Doncic who have shown the ability. Who so far have gone the ability to really at least want the ball like that. But the one thing that worries about Porter Jr. is his back and then also his shot, because his shot wasn't falling because of his back. So if his back isn't 100% healthy, his athleticism's gone, his shot's gone. And he's a worse prospect for that.
Medically cleared.
So he's medically cleared, but again, anyone can be medically cleared. And then let's look at Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, journey. What was it?
Do they regret drafting Ben Simmons?
No, but I'm saying anything can happen. I mean, let's look at Markelle then. Markelle. I mean, they drafted
Markel's number 1.
Okay, I'm not saying they made a mistake, dude, but I'm just saying that these guys got injured. So,
yes.
and this is a guy with injury problems. That's
Absolutely.
The only thing I'm throwing out there.
Absolutely, but I'm all about that potential. He oozes potential. He oozes upside. It's weird being on the other side of this argument with you, Sean. You're the one who's telling me he should be number 2 overall.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
And that's why it's weird, because I'm looking back at our old drafts. Since the lotto was kind of in place with our 5.0, it was, I'm just looking at your mock draft.
Absolutely.
Bamba at 5. Then our 6.0 Bamba at 5. The only time you didn't have them take either Ayton, because for our live lotto we had the Mavs at 1, was when you had Bagley fall all the way to them at 3 when they were that high during the season. So for me, the question for the Mavs is, if they go Michael Porter Jr., do they do a Ben Simmons where it's we're sitting you the whole year and we're redshirting?
I think you play it by ear. You got to know where he's at, and you got to make sure that he's in game shape. You don't want to rush him back too early.
Because they're not a team that's going to complete for the playoffs with him on the team.
But you don't get better necessarily by spending that year off. He's a guy who needs to get himself into physical shape and game shape, and you only do that by playing games.
Well, and I said that before. I think this is when the Grizzlies drafted my last one. Is that he might be on a minutes cap, but I don't think they're going to bench him. Yeah, and they might give him breaks. They might be like, all right, you're taking 1 game a week off. But I don't think he's gonna be given a whole season off like Ben Simmons was, because he's technically still not. He's rehabbing the injury, but it isn't it isn't an injury that just happened. He's been rehabbing this since September, I think, or whenever the season started after that Iowa State game. So I don't think it's going to be a Ben Simmons situation or a Markelle Fultz situation at all. Now the Magic are on the clock at the 6th pick, and I have no idea what to do, because I have 2 options.
Yep.
I have Trey Young, and I've consistently talked about him having massive superstar potential. I don't know if he's going to be the best pro. I still feel Colin Sexton will be the best pro point guard, but I still have Mo Bamba. Yeah. So we're talking about guys with massive potential. And I love Mo Bamba, one of the largest wingspans ever recorded in NBA history, and it might even still grow with how young this kid is. The defensive potential is already there, and the offense is coming along. Maybe I think he's hitting 168 threes out of 100 in practices now. But it was a good tweet I saw from, I think, Bull Scripted. Nice. But it's something where I don't know whether to go Mo Bamba, because I like him better as a prospect. They don't need Mo Bamba at all. They got Vucevic, which means they have Draymond Green.
Here's the question I want to ask you before you make your pick. Is, I know we're not doing trades in here, but if this is the real draft, if it ends up like we just had it and Bamba and Young are on the board, is there a good possibility that the Magic go, you know what? if we can get something for this, if someone wants to move up for a Bamba, wants to move up for a Young, do you pull that trigger?
I think they'd be stupid to move past the Bulls. So if the Bulls want to come up and they want to give me if they want to give me a pick, then I would probably do that. But I don't think they would even do it because here's why they're picking the guy they're going to end up. Let's look at their team. Vucevic is most likely going to stay on their team. Sadly enough, Magic fans, you cannot get Draymond Green straight up for Vucevic because he's hot trash. He has a lot of money coming towards him. Aaron Gordon might be on this team. There's still talks, though, he might not be. The only consistent player that they have said it's going to be on the team, the guy that's not even in trade rumors, is Jonathan Isaac. And Jonathan Isaac is a guy that really can float from the 3 to the 5. We don't know where he's going to end up. But he's a guy with size. He's a guy with great defensive potential. And if that's what Mo Bamba is, I need offense. I need scoring. I'm going with Trey Young.
Yeah.
Because this is a guy that with Aaron Gordon, with Nikola Vucevic, with Evan Fournier, he's going to find shooters. He's going to have the ability to really find players that are going to be open. And he's going to have space to work with. And that's what Trey Young needs to do. This is a guy with massive usage in college. We've never seen this usage before. And yes, I get that he's small, 6'2". He doesn't even have that long of a wingspan. But the thing that he does have is basketball skill. He knows how to play the game. He's fairly athletic for his size. And yes, he might not be the best driver, but this kid can shoot. And I don't want to miss out on possibly the next Steph Curry. I'm not saying he is, but and some people are like, oh, he wasn't as good as a shooter as Steph Curry was in college. Okay, Trey Young's a freshman. Steph Curry was a junior. And this is a thing where he has some pretty damn good numbers. Yes, he struggled in the second half. You know who's also struggled in the second half? Markkanen. And Markkanen was fantastic in his rookie year for the Chicago Bulls. Trey Young obviously isn't a 6'11", finished player or 7 foot finished player, but I think Trey Young can play basketball. I think this kid can ball, and I think that the Magic might be the best fit for him. From 6 down. So Trey Young is the pick for the Magic. Hopefully, their next superstar.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Why? You got your guy. You got Mo Bamba.
Here's the thing, though. So the reason why I hate you is I was hoping that you would take Mo Bamba, that you would make my decision easier. You've now made my decision worse. And
I don't understand how there's a decision.
This is a guy that you've literally been riding for years.
Yeah,
Since what? You've been talking about it, I think, for the past 2 months, that Mo Bamba's so good.
But here's the thing.
Now the Bulls, too.
Now the Bulls at 7 have a decision to make in my mind. What do we value more, the 3 or the 5? Because to me, I know that everyone's like, oh, we promised Chandler Hutchinson a spot at 22 or 21. But let's be honest. There's not even a for sure that he's going to be there. So for me, it comes down to the decision, do you take Mo Bamba, who, yes, I really like. I think he's going to be a great player, one of the greats at center 5 years, 3 years down the line. Or do you take Mikal Bridges, who analytically they love him. Defensively, offensively, he's all there. He also fits a need for us. So for me, the Bulls would then be, we're going to take the incomplete time to just argue with each other about, do we take Bamba? Do we take Mikal? In the end, I am probably going to regret this, but I am going to go with Mo Bamba. But I really want to go with Mikal Bridges. I really do. And part of me as a Bulls fan is hoping that both Porter Jr. and Bamba are off the board by 7 so that we can get Mikal and I can be like, okay, cool, we still got a guy that I like and not have to make this hard decision in my head.
If Trey Young's on the board, why are the Bulls pass on him?
Because I feel like we don't need...
I understand people. I'm not trying. This isn't me bashing on Chris Dunn. I think Chris Dunn had a really nice season.
If we drafted Trey Young at 7, I would not hate it. I would probably be one of the first people in the line to get a Trey Young Bulls jersey because I've liked Trey Young through the entire college season. I just think the 5 or the 3 is a bigger need for us, and Mikal or Mo Bamba will end up being better pros than Trey Young will be.
Right.
Yeah, that's strong words.
You're on the board, Cavs.
Cavs are stuck in between the same. It's been the decision I've flopped on like 6 times.
Well, it's also will or will he won't. Like, what do you do with the whole LeBron situation?
I don't think it really impacts. If I'm taking the pick, if I'm trading the pick, yeah, it impacts it. But if I'm taking the pick, you're between a couple guys. Mikal, obviously, great wing, great defensive player, good shooter. You could go Colin Sexton, who has all the makings of a young, athletic point guard. Shooting could be better, but there's a lot to like about his aggression, his basketball willingness to just carry team on his back. And then you could go with one of the best well-rounded bigs in this draft, who we haven't really given much love to, Wendell Carter Jr., but he kind of does it all. And that's where I want to lean. But Tristan Thompson's freaking contract is just, you're stuck with it. You got nothing to do with it. And guess what? George Hill on the other end, got nothing you can do with it.
20 mil.
So you're stuck with 2 shitty contracts, and I'm stuck looking at, well, if he does leave, what are we going to do? And I want to take a better player, but I think I'm going to go with Colin Sexton.
I'm glad you made that. I'm glad you made that pick.
I want to go Colin Sexton because I need a new point guard to lead this new team to its new generation, because I think that as shitty as those contracts are, George Hill on his final year will be worth something to someone, like even for just to mess with your own cap space. He's still a good shooter. He's an okay defender. He's not $20 million, but whatever. Tristan Thompson, no one's going to pay you for that. There is no getting out from under that.
Well, unless you attach him to this pick. But again, we're not trading this.
Correct.
Well, and the thing I also like about it, if LeBron does stay, it's now a player that, if it's true and everything that LeBron wants to play more off ball, you can do that because you have Colin
You
Sexton
need someone
who
who
can
can
handle
score
the ball.
the goddamn ball into the bucket. Ball and bucket. That's how you win games. And they couldn't do that during the playoffs.
LeBron can't be the only player scoring if he stays.
And we watched Colin Sexton play against incredible odds and show throughout the season that
5
he
on
has
3.
that mentality.
Well, 1 on 3. Let's be honest.
He has that mentality to go at, drive it, willpower that shot to go in. So like that's the kind of thing. If I'm LeBron and I'm staying, I love the pick. If I'm LeBron and I'm leaving, you know what? I respect the pick still. I don't care though because I'm not on the team anymore.
Yeah. And now the Knicks are on the board at 9. The best pick for them is, I think, still Trey Young. Because I thought about this back.
This is a shit situation if both Sexton and Young go before them at 9.
Why?
Because I would take either of them. Point guard's the position I would go with, and I would take either of those.
Not at all. 3 is more of a need. 5 is more of a need for them. I mean, those are bigger needs than the 1. The only reason why I like Trey Young there is just because I think if you have him and Frank, those 2 guards, it's exactly a yin and yang. I mean, Frank might turn out to be a decent shooter and a fairly good passer. I don't think they're going to give up on him, but he's elite. He's an elite defender already, and he's 19 years old.
And he can mask Trey Young's deficiencies.
Yes, but the thing with Trey Young is I think he would thrive in New York. I think having Kristaps there, having Frank there, I think they find role players fairly decently. I think that would be absolutely a gold mine for the Knicks. But he's off the board. I took him with whatever team I did, the Magic. And I look now as this isn't a pick for this year. It's a pick for next year. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. It's Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke to play that center position to pair with Kristaps. It's going to be Kristaps and Wendell Carter down low. Kristaps, we know him as the unicorn. This kid's an all-star when he's healthy. The big thing, though, is that he's not consistently healthy. And I think having a guy that's going to be a pillar of consistency for you in Wendell Carter is going to be great. I don't know if he's going to be an all-NBA player. I don't think he's going to be a bench player, though. I think this guy's going to be a consistent starter. People say Al Horford. I think that's a fairly
that's a lofty hope.
It's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
I think David West is a pretty good comparison back in the day. And I even heard Taj Gibson, an upper-end Taj Gibson. I think that he's going to be a consistent starter. I think Wendell Carter is going to be a nice pair besides good old Kristaps Porzingis, besides Frank Ntilikina. And this isn't a pick for this year because we don't know when Kristaps is going to be back. A thing come out on GimmeSports.com. It says Kristaps admits he has to be smart with his ACL recovery.
Yeah.
So we don't know when he's going to be back. I think it's going to be around December, but he might even wait until January, February until he's 100%. So this Knicks team might be terrible, and they need a 3. They need a guy that's going to be that next star. Maybe be a great scorer if Kristaps isn't there, and R.J. Barrett might be that. And Knicks have their pick, so I think that the Knicks are going to position themselves to win for next year. They're going to have Enos off the books next year, so you're going to have Wendell Carter, you're going to have Kristaps, you're going to have R.J. Barrett, you're going to have Frank Ntilikina. That's going to be 4 of the starting 5 for the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks take Wendell Carter at 9.
I like that. I just want to jump on it real quick because you mentioned how good defensively Frank is, but did you know Frank and KP, when healthy, were on the same level defensively as Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid? Like they were literally that pairing was number 1 in the NBA, and if Frank and KP had both paired up more, they were on a pace to beat them. Well, so adding someone like Wendell Carter who could cover up defensively for someone like Bagley. I mean, that Knicks team, when healthy the following year, looks nasty defensively.
Well, and the thing with Frank, too, is I know people shit on him because, he shot, 72% from the free throw line. He only scored 5.9 points. The metrics on his shot aren't terrible. I mean, he shot 36% from the field. I get it. He's not that much of a driver, but he shot 31% from three. That's going to go more up. I mean, this kid wasn't
He's
too
also
confident.
still young, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's 19 years old. I mean,
he's younger than Ayton is. He's younger than Doncic.
He's going to turn...
And I think, maybe not Doncic, but like 3 of the top 5 players. He's younger than all of them.
He's going to turn 20 July 28th. I mean, this kid's massively young. He's got one of the largest wingspans for a guard. I think it's like 6'10", 6'11". I think it's still growing, too. And he's 6'5". I mean, he's a massive point guard. He's got athleticism. People shit on him because he didn't come in and put up 15 right away like Donovan Mitchell. But also Donovan Mitchell had a year more than him in college. He was going up against college players where, again, I'm not trying to shit on European basketball, but Frank wasn't in the cream of the crop.
No,
overseas.
He was drafted on potential.
Yeah, and so far the potential is shown enough. The franchise, as they call him, not the franchise. That's what
French fries.
That's or the French Prince, which they call him on Basketball Reference. But I truly think that Frank will be a guy that's going to be solid. I don't think you go Colin Sexton because I think they might overlap a little bit too much. I think that Trey Young would be the best just because he brings that outside shooting. Yeah. But Wendell Carter's still available. I think he's going to be consistent. I think they're playing more for next year. But Dave, those are my thoughts on the Knicks, and we are now into the 10th pick. We're in double-digit, at least, territory. 76ers are now on the board. Or on the clock.
On the clock. And they're smiling pretty happy right now because, look, what they encountered last year in the playoffs against the Celtics was a team of elite level athletic wings. Like they went up against Jaylen Brown, J-Tay, and Marcus Morris, and that what they came across was the fact that they didn't have consistent scoring and defense from that wing position. Robert Covington was very hot and cold. His shooting is just unpredictable at this point in time. It's nowhere near consistent as it needs to be. So you need another guy who can help fill that void, and you get someone who can go off ball, someone who can defend the other team's best wing players to match up with Robert Covington. You're thrilled that Mikal Bridges fell this far to you, and you're like, yes, we are going right back to the playoffs. This is a guy who can play coming into the NBA right now, contribute at a top-end level. I think they're thrilled right now.
So Mikal Bridges, clear pick.
I was kind of hoping that he would fall one more pick.
How would he fall?
I know. I didn't think he would. But this is one of the harder picks coming up with the Hornets. And the reason why is I look at their contracts, and there's 3 positions that I think they could target here with the players that are available. The first one's the glaring one. What do you do about Kemba? Are they going to trade him draft night? Are they going to trade him this season? Are they going to hang on to him and maybe he walks? Then there's the small forward of, yes, you have MKG. He's probably going to, I'm assuming he'll opt in at the end of this season to take his $13 million because I don't know what the market for him is going to be.
Yeah.
And then you have the center position where Dwight's done at the end of the year. And are you going to want to re-up him at the end of the year or try to bring him back? If Wendell Carter Jr. was available, he would have been the guy I would go with. However, Sean took him with the Knicks.
Yep.
With this one, it's either Kevin Knox or Shai Gilgeous. I'm going to go with, and this might piss off Hornet fans, I'm going to go with Shai Gilgeous here because I am trading Kemba by the trade deadline because to me, there has been no news that a new contract is coming. So I'm getting a guy that I can fill in for him when I eventually trade him.
Jerry West just exploded.
Yeah.
Adam Silver just came up and dropped a bomb, and Jerry West has a smile, ear to ear right now because you didn't pay both of them. You didn't go with you throw out 2 Kentucky kids. Miles Bridges is still on the board. Miles Bridges, baby, is a Clipper. Miles Bridges is the new savior in LA. Miles Bridges is going to be bigger than Kawhi Leonard. He's going to be bigger than LeBron James. He's going to be bigger than Paul George. Maybe not the second one. But Miles Bridges is the pick for the Clippers. Thank God. Hallelujah. Blake Griffin turns into Miles Bridges. It's a glorious day for Jerry West and the Clippers. Perfect pick. Perfect pick. This is a guy with top 10 talent. This is a guy that's a leader. This is a guy that improved his shot. He got better. The metrics might not say it, but 85% free throw shooter. Raised that about 13%. He's still a consistent shooter from the outside. This is a guy that's physical. This is a guy that can drive. Offensively, he is a massive stud. You can get rid of Danilo Gallinari's bum-ass contract. You can get rid of DeAndre Jordan. It's a clean slate for the Clippers. Miles Bridges brings it in from Michigan State. A perfect fits like a glove.
Here's the thing I will say,
Might even be the
though.
next Paul Pierce, and you're working with Doc Rivers.
Here's the thing I will say, though, and this is one of the things that I was thinking about when we had, you guys know how I like to get crazy with the trades for our last one.
No, you?
There was an original trade that I did have in one of my other ones where I can see if the Magic, if everyone go for them and they're not really happy what they want, I could see a Kemba Walker for the 6 with some stuff put in there as well. But I could see the Hornets trading Kemba to the Magic, who need a point guard, in order to get the 6th and somehow. I don't know if they'd keep their first rounder.
Only if Kemba's going to resign.
But that would be something that would be interesting, is if they get that point guard then there, Trey Young or Colin Sexton, and then could go with a 3, Kevin Knox or Miles Bridges, with their original pick.
Now, I have to go think, because now the Clippers have the 2 picks.
You just celebrated all
I did
over Miles Bridges.
Oh, and I still have a ton of options. And you look at the center position, might be thinning out with if DeAndre declines and doesn't come back. You look at the point guard position; they have 2 quality players in Milos and Pat Bev, but on the older side, both of them are. I just drafted a 3 in Miles Bridges, but Danilo's there. He's got an expensive contract. At the 2, I do have Pat Bev, but not Pat Bev. I'm sorry, I have Lou Will. And 8 years, 24 mil is 8 years.
No,
3 years, 24 mil. 8 years, 8 mil a year. But he's more of a 6-man. And I think I want to take on a project if I'm the Clippers.
I'm intrigued.
And a guy who it is he might not develop a shot. We don't know what he is, but he's got athleticism. He's got a nice frame. It's a 6'4" guard.
I know this one.
6'4" forward. Zaire Smith off the board. He's a guy that can turn elite defensively, and I think pairing that with Miles Bridges, who I don't know if he's going to be great defensively. I think he could be good to solid defensively. I think Zaire Smith can hide those flaws and take on the monster wings that we're going to have throughout this NBA,
and especially out west,
for the couple
where
years.
just all the wings are just
they're all flocking to LA.
Yep.
Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James. I think Zaire Smith has a unique potential. He can switch through the 1 through 4. And he's 6'4". If he could develop a shot, he's going to be more dangerous. I think that point guard could be a position they attack, but Colin Sexton, Shai Gilgeous, and Trey Young are off the board, so that's not there. Mitchell Robinson, too high. Robert Williams, I don't know if he's the right fit there. I think he might go a little bit later. So I don't think there's a big that I really like on the board. So Zaire Smith is going because of potential. So Zaire Smith is now a Clipper.
Yeah, and now the Nuggets coming up next. I think the easiest thing for them is if they keep the pick, I'm going with the best 3 on the board, which would be Kevin Knox without a doubt, with how our draft is going up. 3'4".
No.
He's 6'11".
Let's put it this way. I'm glad.
I'm sorry. He's 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because
a lot of people are saying he's like the prototype 4 now.
Let's put it this way. If I play him at the 3, great. All I have is Wilson Chandler right now if he accepts his player option. If I play him at the 4, Kenneth Faried, who I'm trying to move. So with the Nuggets, there's
Millsap.
a place. You have Millsap, too.
Millsap and Jokic play.
But
so there's not a place.
You know what? I'm going to get rid of Faried. I'll fit him in there where
Faried didn't play
plays.
last year.
But that's what his position is when he does play, Sean. I'm going with Kevin Knox. However, the thing I will say is I expect this pick to be traded because they'll dump Faried's contract on trade night.
I like that move if they move him. I think one position they might look at though, and this is just to add on if they do keep the pick there, would be some shooting on the outside because they do have Gary Harris. Obviously, they have Jamal Murray. But I think the biggest thing for them is Paul Millsap working on the inside. Jokic loves to drive in and obviously dish out. I think having more shooting on the outside is definitely going to be a place they look at. And where that comes from, maybe they try to slide down and get into that Landry Shamet, maybe that Kevin Huerter,
or that
possibly
Kyrie Thomas area
no,
too.
I'm talking about elite shooters, not bums.
Wow, you really hate that kid.
He does.
Eli Okubo would be the other guy. Because again, Jamal Murray at point guard, it's an interesting project. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Okubo could be another project at that spot. Great shooter, has some passing abilities. I think Okubo, if they slide back, they'd look into that Huerter. They'd look into that Okubo, that Shamet range.
How far back do you think?
Or even Troy Brown as well.
How far back do you think they're slotting?
Troy
them?
Brown's not a shooter.
He might turn into one though. He's
got a good body.
Yeah.
But
How far back do you think they're sliding though? Are you talking like late first, like Warriors Celtics range?
No, like 20 to 24.
I would say Kevin Huerter. That would be a little bit too high for me on Huerter.
20 to 24. I think that's where I've seen him mocked consistently.
The lower end of that is where I would start thinking about a Huerter, though. Like,
well, I'm throwing out shooters.
For me, the higher ups is you're thinking then about like Keita Bates-Diop, Kyrie Thomas, Jacob Evans are in that area.
I disagree on one of those.
Hudson's as well.
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right. Wizards on the board, and it's me. Oh, all right. This one's going to be easy. I talked about that crazy monster fuck-up of a trade. It was a 4-team trade. Oh, no, this was a 2-team trade that sent Marcin Gortat to the Lakers. It's probably not going to happen. So they're going to need a big. They're going to need a guy that develops. Going to go Mitchell Robinson out of high school. I think it's maybe a little bit too early, but I think that's the biggest place that they need. They have Otto Porter. They have good old Kelly Oubre. They have Beal. They have Wall. I think they need a young center. I think
why going young center versus someone who's actually played some time in college and who has been mocked ahead of him consistently in Robert Williams?
Well, I don't love Robert Williams. I fall in love and I hate him at the same time because he's a guy that plays really good defense. He's a defensive stud. Some people are like Ben Wallace, but I don't think Ben Wallace would fit too well in the NBA today. And I think another thing too is he doesn't hustle like Ben Wallace did. Ben Wallace was a king of hustle. This guy was a firecracker out there. Robert Williams really isn't that. He seems pissed off half the time. I didn't really love his tape too much at Texas A&M. So I think he's taken a little bit of a fall. When we start to overanalyze people. So I like his body. I like his athleticism. I don't know if he's going to hustle that much. And Mitchell is more of a guy that they don't need to play right away. I think Gortat's still going to play. They obviously have Morris. They still have Jan Mahimi. So I think we'll go with Mitchell Robinson out of high school. Take the young kid. Maybe a little bit too early, but the Wizards can make a mistake.
Fair enough.
And then Dave, you're on the board. Suns.
Igor's loving it because he's going foreign. He's going Eli Okubo.
Nice.
He's getting that point guard to pair up. He needs someone, ball handler who, not afraid to shoot, comes in with decent passing skills, can definitely be grown, good sized body, good sized frame. He's progressed every single year. There's a lot to like about him. I think the thing you have to wonder is like they're still stuck in that position where you're stuck under Brandon Knight's contract. What do you do with Elfrid Payton now that he's cut the hair? Does he have talent now? Like, is he reversing that? Like, that could be a thing. So I think you still take the shot, though, because you know in your heart that, like, neither one of those guys are going to be the answer with Dev Book. And you go out and get Okubo, who, at worst, is a really good six-man for you, and it's a development project even at that, but, like, I think he legit has like starting point guard written all over him. Well, I think him and Dev Book could be a crazy good backcourt.
And the stuff that's coming out about this kid is insane. I mean, last year he was the LNB Pro A Best Young Player Award runner-up, which was won by Frank. Frank won it 2 years in a row. But let's look at the hit list that is the people that have won that award, the LNB Pro A Best Young Player of the Year award, because it's awarded to players who are the best player in that league under 22. Okubo's most likely going to win it this year.
Yeah.
Tony Parker, 2000 to 2001. Boris Diaw the next year. Jan Mahimi, 2005 to 2006. Nick Batum twice, 2006, 2007, 2008. Evan Fournier twice, 2010, 2011, 2012, Clint Capella, 2013, 2014, and then Frank, 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017. Actually, he didn't win it this year. Adam Makoka won it. It's a 19-year-old player. But I'm actually surprised that good old Eli didn't win it because this kid, Adam Makoa, only averaged 13.2 points and 1.8 rebounds, where you look at Eli on May 23rd during Game 1 of the series against first seed Monaco, put up 44 points in a 99-97 loss. So this kid can ball. This kid can hoop.
He can flat out play.
Eli's a guy that I'm super interested in, and putting him on the Suns is going to be a nice fit.
Like I would almost feel like I'm now a Suns fan a little bit.
Well, as the Bucks,
like my secondary fanship goes.
As the Bucks now at 17, I'm bummed because I thought that would be a great fit right there. I think they need more shooting, but now they're losing a guy in Jabari Parker, who's more of a slasher, and maybe they will look to that slasher range. I know they have Giannis. Giannis loves to slash, and he isn't really that much of a shooter. But also looking at the shooters available, looking at the shooters on the board, kind of non-existent, at least at this range. I know Herder's there, Shamet's there, but I think that's a little bit too much of a reach. Keita Bates-Diop could be an interesting one, kind of stretch the floor a little bit if they want to. So the two guys that I'm looking at are Keita Bates-Diop, and then the other one, and the guy that I'm probably the most likely going to go with, is Lonnie Walker out of Miami. He's a guy that I think he could be very interesting if he develops his shot. Very good attacker. He's a scorer, and he has defensive potential with his wingspan. We know the Bucks team wingspan. He's got a 10 wingspan, a 6'10 wingspan as a 6'4 guard. It screams a Bucks pick. Lonnie Walker from Miami is now a Milwaukee Buck.
Yeah, and that's why for me, even like with the Bucks, I know you mentioned like, oh, you were thinking Okubo. Another pick that I think is even more of a Bucks pick is a pick that you made at 13 for the Clippers, Zaire Smith, because he's a guy that can play out there either on the wing or at the 2, and he's got that wingspan that the Bucks like. But Spurs coming up next, I think it's easy for them. They've got either 2 picks. If the Kawhi news didn't come out, I think that they're going up to that and they're going to go, you know what, we usually hit on international players, and Zana Musa would be the guy. However, I'm now sitting there going, I don't know what's going to happen with the Kawhi thing. Like, yeah, I'm not expecting to trade him as a Spur fan over the offseason. This is what I'm thinking if I'm the GM of the Spurs. But we know we're going to lose him at the end of the year no matter what. So for me, I am going to decide either between Musa or between a guy like Kyrie Thomas, who can also play defense. I'm going to go with Thomas because I need a guy that can play defense because I'm going to lose that once Kawhi is out the door because he's going to the door. It's just when will he be out that door?
I do want to say, I mean, they have an unreal defender in DeJounte Murray. So,
but
I mean,
at a different position. You need more than
Kyrie's
just one
playing
guy.
a guard. I don't think he's going to be a forward.
I mean, he could maybe be a guy that plays the 2 but then guards the 3 or the 2. I'm going to go with Kyrie Thomas for the Spurs and go against what I mocked with them with Dante DiVincenzo.
All right. I mean, DiVincenzo would be an interesting fit there.
I just put that there because apparently they really liked him coming out of the combine after talking to him.
You're back on the board, Hawks, at 20.
This one's going to be interesting. I'm going to go Troy Brown. And it's just easy where it's like, Troy Brown to me is the best available for what they need. It's either him or I was kind of thinking Aaron Holiday. I'm going to go with Troy Brown over Aaron Holiday and just keep those picks. I'll be back at 30 with the Hawks.
This one's interesting now at 21 with the, or 20. This is 20 because our things moved down.
Yeah.
So at 19, the Hawks take Troy Brown. At 20, Timberwolves can go either a guard or forward at the 4. I think they need more shooting, though, so I'm looking at guys that can shoot. So I'm looking, or maybe even the 3 as well. I'm looking at Melvin Frazier.
I'll say if Wiggins isn't there.
I'm looking at Keita Bates-Diop, and I am looking at Kevin Huerter. The decision's going to be tough, I think, for the Timberwolves. With Huerter's news that he got injured, I know he'll be back at least by the time the season's ready to start. Aaron Holiday is also an interesting guy for them as well.
Yeah.
It's a tough pick. I had DeAnthony Melton go right before him. I think DeAnthony Melton could be an interesting fit. I'm going to end up going with Keita Bates-Diop because I think he's going to fit nicely for the future alongside Cat because I know Cat will for sure be there. I think Bates will play decent defense. He could shoot the ball from the outside. And I think, if Jimmy Butler's still there, I think he could work with it. So I think Keita Bates-Diop is the pick for the Timberwolves at 20. I always forget they have Justin Patton too, but Patton's more of a 5. Yeah. I don't really like him that much.
And he legitimately was just a G leaguer.
He can't rebound. Like he couldn't rebound coming out of college. So why can't he rebound now in the NBA? Like that was a guy that I don't think I was too high. I hope I wasn't too high on last year. But yeah, I'll go Keita Bates-Diop out of Ohio State at 20 for the Timberwolves. Dave, you're up with the Jazz.
So the Jazz are also, again, key theme here, shooter. You're late in this draft, or you're in the end of, I'm calling it late. You're now in the 21 through 30 section.
You're also a playoff team.
You're a playoff team. You're doing good, but you need a shooter. And I'm down to the thought of 2. It's Kevin Huerter or Grayson Allen. And I love Grayson Allen as a pro prospect.
Is this a little high, though, for Grayson?
Yeah, what do you like about Grayson, especially in the first round?
He is an established player who is a 4-year college player. So you're getting someone who is not immature. You're getting someone who is pro-ready and can contribute at the pro level, where at this point in the draft, usually people are going after guys who have there's something I like about this guy. We could grow him into something. Like Grayson Allen is a ball handler. He's a shooter. He's someone who defensively he can stick on people or trip them. I'm just going to get that out of the way.
Pause.
Yeah.
He'll trip him.
Ricky said maturity. Is Grayson Allen mature?
I think that at times
Because I
he
think
was.
you have
like,
some thoughts about this.
At times, like, the thing that's he's an enigma to me. Because it's like, when he's at his best, it's like, this is a guy I want leading my second. Not leading, like, ball handler-wise. I think he's more of a off-the-ball two-guard than a ball handler. But he has that ability at times. But then there's times where he just makes that boneheaded, like, he lets the emotions get to him. And then he does something like a stupid trip. So to me, it would be, do I have the coaches in place to where he doesn't do that? Because let's be honest, he had one of the best coaches in college basketball and still had moments like that in college. Like, that would be the yin and yang with me with Grayson Allen.
But at the same time, like, with that best coach in college gushing about how he's going to be a fantastic pro, about how him staying 4 years helped him. Yes, he could have gone higher, but he wasn't as complete of a person at that time. Like, he was very narrow-minded, and now he has grown. The
interviews are the most important part.
The interviews, and he actually did an AMA on Reddit last week, and it was a really good read because he talks about like how like he learned through meditation, like he started like realizing what he's doing to himself, what everything going on around him, kind of a thing. And like reading that, I kind of fell in love with it a little bit. I like him as a player. I know I'm going to get some shit from Jason's. I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to say Grayson Allen.
Well, I'm telling you, because I'm the Celtics down the line, Danny Ainge is doing this right now. Like,
no, I don't think he cares so much.
He's like, I'll find someone else, but he's like, crap. That was going to be my diamond in the rough at 27.
No,
it was Grayson Allen.
I think Danny Ainge has like 45 names that he thinks is a diamond in the rough.
I was going to say.
I don't think Danny Ainge just gives a shit. One thing I do, you guys remember Yogi Ferrell?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to bring him up. All right, Ricky, you're on the board.
Indiana Hoosier.
For reasons or just in general? You like the name?
I was thinking about Yogi Ferrell.
All right. Do you think Grayson Allen's going to be like Yogi Ferrell? Is that why you're bringing him up?
Nope.
Not even a little.
Okay. Well, the Bulls on the clock next, and I've got two guys in my head. Either Chandler Hutchison, who we've promised we'll take here, but yet again,
What do you think about Chandler?
He's offense. He's offense and he'll get us rebounds. But there's another guy that I think I like a little bit more at the same position who's just been climbing up draft boards as of late, and that's Melvin Frazier. And the reason why I like Melvin Frazier is because he actually plays defense. So for me, the thing I think I'm going yin and yang here is, do I want to go with the guy who is going to be more defensive or the guy that's going to be more offensive for me? And I think I'm going to go against what the Bulls are doing, and I'm going to take Melvin Frazier here because the way I think about it is I've got Mo Bamba down low, so I went defense early at the 5, but he's developing his offensive game. I've got Chris Dunn. I've got Zach LaVine. I traded for them. Well, Zach LaVine, we got the RFA. We'll have to get him back. But I traded for them to be our offense. I have Markkanen, who is our offense. I want to go defense to stop teams from scoring and then develop Frazier's offensive game rather than developing Hutchison's defensive game.
You can't call Ricky a homer because Jalen Brunson is on the board and he didn't go with him.
No.
Because that would I'm shocked that Ricky didn't go with his favorite player.
This is a little too high for Jalen Brunson, and there's more need at the 3 than what we would get with Brunson. But if I could, I'd trade back in and get him with a third pick.
I'm just shocked I'm shocked you wouldn't take him. Now we are pretty much hitting the Dave Rock block because we have the Pacers now at 23, then we have the Lakers at 25, then we have the 76ers at 26, then we have the Warriors at 28. Would that be? Yeah, 28.
Yeah, 28.
So Dave, start us off with the Pacers at 23.
Man, this is shitty because as the Pacers were looking for wing help, and like you look at the board, and Keita Bates-Diop's gone, Troy Brown, not quite a wing, but an elite athlete.
6'7", he could possibly be a wing, yeah.
A guy, and then Melvin Frazier. So I'm just gonna go with Chandler Hutchison. Okay, I'm gonna lock it in.
What do you think they need? Like watching them, do you think they need that offense from that wing position? Do you think they need defense, or do you think they need a wing?
I think they need another wing because Bojan is a sharpshooter from the outside. Defensively, he's actually better than I expected him to be. I know he probably doesn't get a ton of credit for it.
No one thinks a European unathletic white guy can play defense, especially against LeBron James.
So yeah, I mean, like, I think that at this point, it's just wing depth. You need to get someone in, someone developing, because he's not the long-term answer. You need someone to line up with Vic and be on that same timeline as him, Miles Turner, and I think Chandler Hutchinson can fit in that mold.
The one guy I would bring up here that I like for them is Jacob Evans from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I like the 3-and-D there. I think he can be a guy that can fill in for Bojan and be a guy that can last a little bit. I like Evans there, but I understand where you're going with Hutchinson because he has a bigger body.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I am up now with the Trailblazers. Biggest thing for them is cap. They also need some wing help. They need some defensive help, I believe. Watching them, I think they have some players there, but I don't think they have a guy that really stands out to me. And also, I think position depth at the point guard and shooting guard are the biggest things for the Trailblazers. So Josh Okogie's on the board, Jalen Brunson's on the board. We have Jacob Evans, I think, could still be on the board. Kevin Huerter could be on the board as well if they're looking at him. Landry Shamet. The guy that I'm going to end up going with, and he's a guy that I really have started to come around a little bit on. Didn't play at USC, but that was because he was getting investigated by the FBI. It's DeAnthony Melton. I think he's going from FBI investigation at USC to now going up north to the Portland Trailblazers. I'm coming around on him. I think he could be a really good defensive player. I think he could be a nice distributor. And if they want to move away from Dame and CJ McCollum, I think that DeAnthony Melton has a spot on this. I think he can play good defense. I think he can shoot from the outside. I think he can facilitate. I think maybe he turns into maybe a better scoring Marcus Smart with worse defense. I think that's going to be DeAnthony Melton's spot right there. Portland Trailblazers at 24.
Do you think we see a Dame CJ breakup sooner rather than later? By not like them. I'm saying the team trades one of them to relieve cap space and kind of just blow it all up.
I would say after this year. I would say to see how they do in the playoffs and how Terry Stotts does. And
I think if they make the playoffs, if teams like the Nuggets and Clippers get better.
I think they're more likely to stay in, and teams probably near that lower half. Maybe
Could you guys
the
think about
Timberwolves fall out.
Clippers, Nuggets, if the Grizzlies get the right pieces, and they were a team that could have been a playoff team if they weren't decimated with injuries.
I mean, I know Portland had to go on a big run near the end of the season to start moving up, and they had a really good end of the season. I think they have enough regular season talent to make the West. And I understand where you're coming from. Clippers could be interesting. Nuggets for sure. I think Nuggets make the playoffs this year. But San Antonio, if they move Kawhi, I know they made it without Kawhi this year, but it's gonna take a toll on this team. I think. OKC, if PG-13 leaves, that could be a team. Sorry, Jazz. Jazz might not if injuries happen. And Minnesota too. Minnesota seems crazy. What's it called? It seems very hectic in Minnesota right now with Jimmy Butler saying he doesn't want to play with Wiggins. Wiggins is saying he doesn't want to play with Cat, and Jimmy Butler and Cat saying he doesn't want to play in Minnesota as well. I think Tom Thibodeau's ruining the Timberwolves, so that might be a team that has a downfall. But Dave, we're going back to you. Lakers 25.
Lakers at 25 are in a position because of all of this drama going on right now. You got the Kawhi Leonard, you got the LeBron James, you got the Paul George chase all going on.
Screw it, we're trading the pick. We don't need it. We don't need that cap.
They're trading the pick for Luol Deng cap relief. If that was a thing in this thing, it would be done already. I would have shipped him the pick just to get it over with. But since we're stuck and locked in here, I'm looking for someone who can play next to Lonzo Ball. For me right now, it's between two guys. It's Anthony Simmons or Jacob Evans. And I look at Anthony Simmons, and he's got incredible potential to be a legit scoring guard. He's and I don't want to rip on this, but he's got higher upside than what Jordan Clarkson did. We all thought Jordan Clarkson was going to be a stud scoring guard for them. He never really got that consistent point where he was the guy on that team. He had the opportunity from the Kobe transition. It just never happened. I think Anthony Simmons is someone who is dynamic, who has a ton of potential, has a great body size, and has a really good shot. So I think he's the guy you want to pair if you are still in the situation and you roll with it. He's got young and he's got potential. Go for it.
And Dave, we're hitting you with the reverse card in Uno. We're going right back at you at 26. 76
nice
on the board.
Uno reference.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this
That's why
again,
I get paid big bucks.
Ooh. I didn't know that. I gotta re-up my contract then.
You need an uncle.
So at this point, I am going back and forth because as the Sixers, we are thrilled that we landed with Bridges at 10.
Mikal.
Yeah, I knew.
Well, there's two Bridges.
Fair enough. For those who haven't
There's
watched the
Wood
whole
Bridges,
thing.
Jeff Bridges,
Jeff Bridges.
Stone Bridges.
Yes. So I'm thrilled we landed ourselves our defensive 3-and-D dream. Like, we got that down. But at the same time, like, do I be a glutton? And do I go for another one?
Dip back in the pool.
Do I dip back, go for someone like a Jacob Evans? Do I go for somebody who would be, the thrill of this Final Four season and DiVincenzo? Or do I go for the draft and stash who was left on the board? Because I got so many contracts. I got so many players.
Well, and you also got so many picks. You got 6 picks.
I got
whole
6
draft.
picks, so I'm going to go ahead and just pick up Zan and Musa.
Is that who you wanted, Ricky?
No, but I got a
Okay.
question for you. I wanted to wait until you made this pick.
Yep.
I want to go back to your Laker pick.
Yep.
Why would you take Anthony? Like, do you think there's any thought where because Aaron Holiday's still there?
I don't like Aaron Holiday as much as I like Aaron.
No.
Anthony.
But what I'm saying is like, do you think this is more of like what the Lakers will do?
Yeah.
If he's there at 25, do they go like played in LA, played at UCLA, he's coming to LA?
It fits a narrative. I don't see it fitting what Genie
I was
Bus
just
has done in the
surprised.
past.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, LeVar said that every player on UCLA was a bum, so that's also referencing Aaron
Seriously.
Holiday. I think Aaron Holiday would hate to go to the Lakers because he has to deal with fucking LeVar again.
That's actually hilarious.
That would be great.
Could you imagine that?
Good
Oh
call.
my god, I finally get out of him,
Well,
and he's just drafted by the fucking
Speaking
Lakers.
of LeVar, I was watching a video today.
I don't care.
Do you know the latest team that LiAngelo worked out for?
I don't care.
Just the
Celtics
defending champion Golden State Warriors.
Celtics on the board.
Oh, the Celtics are going to go Aaron Holiday. Like, we are going to, like, Danny Ainge is going to be like, you know what? I was thinking between either, like, a Jacob Evans or a Zana Musa. And then it's like, you know what? Aaron Holiday's fallen to us. He's same thing that Jerry West was doing earlier. He can't get that card quick enough to say we're going with Aaron Holiday and getting a guard to be the backup to Gordon Hayward.
And I think the one guy that you got to look out for is the Marcus Smart deal. What's going to happen with them? I mean, if they get Kawhi, I don't think it really matters what they do at 27. But again, Marcus Smart's a big player on that team, and he's a big role player, especially coming off the bench. If they get rid of Terry, they're going to need to bring back Marcus Smart. And Aaron Holiday, fill in that guard spot, but I don't know if he's going to bring that same oomph, that same chutzpah that Marcus Smart brings to the team. But Dave, the Warriors are on the clock. Who are you going with?
It's the Warriors. They need more shooting. It's Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, I think you were going to go with Kevin Huerter.
That's what I thought.
Why DiVincenzo over Huerter?
I honestly forgot Herter was still on the board.
Do you want to change it?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we allowing change picks?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, the Hawks. If you would have went with DiVincenzo, the Hawks' eyes just got huge, and we're like, we're gonna get him at 30. We're gonna get Herter at 30.
I know the hand surgery is kind of why he's falling this far. But at the same time, like, he's still one of the best shooters, lights out. If he can play lick of defense, he's going to be happy in this Warriors team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, people are.
I just want to say Dante DiVincenzo.
He is a 3-and-D guy.
times.
Well, you got to say it, and you got to change your pick.
Yep, it works out.
Yeah, and I think the one thing is, I don't think really the Nets are eyeing too wide, because the thing that the Nets, I think, should go after isn't DiVincenzo, it isn't Grayson Allen, it isn't Kevin Huerter, it's Josh Okogie out of Georgia Tech. I love this kid.
Yeah.
I think this kid is a guy that can play the wing, might even be able to play the two as well. And
He's
pairing
like
that with
6'4" at 7-foot wingspan.
I think this kid is a great mold. I think he can score for you. I think he can play defense. I think he can pass for you. He's a very well-rounded player falling late in this draft. He might not be the best athlete. He might not be an insane, at least scorer, but I think he does everything well for you, and I think that's something that the Nets like. I think that's something the Nets need, is just be able to do a lot of things for us, help our ball club. I think Josh Okogie will be able to do that. So Josh Okogie is the pick at 29, and Ricky, final pick at 30. The Hawks are on the board for the third time.
Well, this is a guy, if I have not said it already, I will. He is my pick for next year to be the Malcolm Brogdon Award winner for the fast break. The Hawks are going to go with Jalen Brunson to round out the first round. He's a guy that I know that draft sites like The Ringer have put him as a classic point guard, but he's a guy that can float between the 1, sometimes the 2, and for a team that has a little bit of a question with their point guard and are not expecting to be a playoff team next year for sure, even if they do move Dennis Schroeder. I'm going to take Brunson. I'm going to match him up with the other 2 guys I picked in Troy Brown, who's going to be on the wing, Marvin Bagley, who's going to be down low, and I'm very confident with my 3 picks in this first round for the Hawks.
We have a ton of time, so we are going to talk about the draft that we just had. But first,
can I jump on the Jalen Brunson question here?
Yes,
Because he's an older player being drafted by a team that, at this point, I would target them as just looking at straight upside.
Young players.
Mm-hmm.
They're all about that upside. Yes, he's 21. He'll be turning 22 at the start of the season.
Much younger than Malcolm Brogdon was when he was drafted.
To be fair, he's 2 years younger than Malcolm Brogdon. But at the same time, like Schroeder's not that old either. And they're moving on from him already, it would seem. So,
but it seems like he's moving on from them.
That's just because of him, though. Yeah,
it seems like he's moving on from them, not them.
It's a Kawhi situation of I want out. It's not them saying, no, you're gone.
Right.
I said this with Christian. I didn't say it on the spot on the podcast, but I want to say it now because this is to the world. This is to 1,000 people that are going to watch this podcast. This is bullshit about the NBA. Dennis Schroeder, you've done nothing in the NBA to say I want out. Kawhi Leonard, you've done nothing besides, be on a great fucking Spurs team and be drafted and hand-selected by Greg Popovich in this NBA. You beat the Memphis Grizzlies in your only playoff team your only playoff series without Tim Duncan's help. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You almost beat the Warriors, but you got injured. That was unfortunate, and I'm sorry about that. And I have sympathy again for these players because again, it's something that I don't know the whole situation with the Spurs. But if this is just something where Kawhi's uncle is really controlling the narrative, and Dennis Schroeder is upset that he wants to play for a winner. Take your time and pay your dues. Like Dennis Schroeder, you've done nothing in the league to be like, I want out. I want to play for a contender. Too bad. Wait your time. Get in line.
I love how he gets the stereotypical Chicago accent.
It's unreal. I'm sick of it.
The thing I'm glad that you went on that rant though, because I was gonna
even Paul George too last year.
I was gonna say this after the podcast. Throughout this podcast, I've been looking at our Kawhi topic that went up today.
Yeah.
And one of the great comments was because Sean was wearing his blue shirt going on about Kawhi. I don't like that guy in the blue shirt. He rubs me the wrong way.
You were your black shirt.
And he was wearing maroon.
Damn it.
We got a comment about Dave too, don't worry.
I went on too long?
Nice.
No, we got a comment about Dave.
No, what the comment about me say? Went on too long?
You rubbed him the wrong way.
Oh, too fucking bad, dude.
And Dave's was that
I even said that. I think I've come off as a crybaby.
Whoever the guy in the maroon shirt, that was Dave, was absolutely embarrassing himself. How in hell you sit there. Yeah, this is English.
English is hard to read.
And he try your damn hardest to make a case that the Lakers have more assets than the Celtics.
My favorite.
Went on for more.
That
the Lakers have more assets because Dave said that the assets are. That's apparently what he's saying.
Well, go, Dave. Cool. And I love the one that said we were so stupid because we were throwing out insane trade scenarios, but he spelled scenarios with no C. So that was cool. Sorry, we went on a little bit of a rant. I love YouTube comments. They're
you love
great.
Going on rants,
and I love you guys. I love when you
passion.
guys comment.
I love the passion.
I love it. If you guys disagree with us, you can disagree with us. We're not right. But again, just spell words right. And don't call us stupid if you're going to spell words wrong. Anyways, Jalen Brunson, a good player. Let's go into recapping his draft.
Okay.
At number 1, Dave with the Suns took DeAndre Ayton, center out of Arizona. Then at 2, with the Kings took Luka Doncic out of Real Madrid. Then at 3, Ricky with the Hawks took Marvin Bagley III from Duke. Then at 4, Ricky took with the Grizzlies Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Michigan State. At 5, the Mavericks, Dave took Michael Porter Jr. At 6, with the Magic took Trey Young Jr., the 3rd, the 4th. At 7, Bulls with Ricky.
Does he
took
have a 3rd
Mo
or a 4 in his name?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think his dad's name's Trey. At 7, Bulls, Ricky took Mo Bamba. At number 8, the Cavs took Colin Sexton. That was Dave making the pick. At 9, I took with the Knicks, Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke. Then at 10, Dave, again with the 76ers, took Mikal Bridges out of Villanova. Then at 11, the Hornets, Ricky, took Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Then at 12, the Clippers lucked into Miles Bridges. At 12, then at 13, Clippers back at it, take Zaire Smith out of Texas Tech.
And those picks were both by you.
Yes. I thought I took
I'm just clarifying.
But yeah, I took with Clippers. I was picking with the Clippers. Nuggets at 14, Ricky took Kevin Knox. Then at 15, I, with the Wizards, took Mitchell Robinson. Then at 16, the Suns, Dave, goes international with some international flair. The Frenchman, Eli Okobo. Then at 17, the Bucks, I took Lonnie Walker the 4th from Miami. Then at 18, the Spurs took Kyrie Thomas out of Creighton. Then at 19, Ricky with the Hawks took Troy Brown from Oregon. Then at 20, the Timberwolves took Keita Bates-Diop out of Ohio State. That was my pick for the Timberwolves. Then at 21, the Jazz, Dave took Grayson Allen. Then at 22, Bulls with Ricky took Melvin Frazier out of Tulane. Then at 23, Pacers, Dave took Chandler Hutchinson for Boise State. Then at 24, me with the Blazers took DeAnthony Melton out of USC. Then at 25, the Lakers, Dave took Anthony Simmons out of high school. Then at 26, Dave again with the 76ers. Oop, I just fucked up the spreadsheet. 76ers, Dave took Zanin Musa from overseas. And at 27, the Celtics, Ricky took Aaron Holiday. I'm running out of spit in my mouth. Aaron Holiday from UCLA. Then at 28, the Warriors, going white again, Kevin Huerter. Wait, what? It's shooting, I meant. Because I always, in my mock drafts, I always picked, who was that kid from Utah? Jared Utah. From Iowa, because he was a white shooter. Anyways, I'm going to blow past that. 28 Warriors took Kevin Huerter from Maryland. Then at 29, Nets took Josh Okogie from Georgia Tech. And then at 30, Hawks made the final pick. That was Ricky. Took Jalen Brunson out of Villanova. It's been a weird end to the podcast. What drafts have you guys liked? What team do you really think made it out well? Had a nice draft. We'll go to Dave first. What team do you really think had the perfect draft?
The perfect draft?
Would walk away from the first round and be like, we're good.
Not to toot my own horn, but I think the Suns walking with DeAndre Ayton and Eli Okubo are thrilled with themselves because they get one of the best shooting point guards in this draft, as well as a guy in DeAndre Ayton who is a just monster down low and who can still stretch it out, run out to the outside, as we talked with Z last time. I think that's a team that has a core set for the future that is back on the scary levels. Like, I know we gushed last year about the Kings. We talked highly about some of these other groups around the league, but this is now a team where they went from they got Suns, they're Dev Book and the crew. Now they're actually seeming to be a team.
What's the next move for them? So they got the center. They got the point guard. What's the next move? What do you think you need to get out
that free agency cash around and see what you can get. Don't waste it on someone bad because next year there's a chance of a lot of superstars being out there. Mm-hmm. But see what's out there. See what's on the market. If anyone stands out,
what position? What are you looking for? A veteran? Are you looking for a young guy? What position are you looking at?
You're looking for someone who fits in the timeline. So you don't need anyone who's mid-30s. That's not going
no
to
Jamal
help you.
Crawfords.
No Jamal Crawfords. No Derrick Roses.
No Tyson Chandler.
No Tyson. I mean, they got Tyson.
Well, I'm saying just he's an old man on their team.
4-year contract to Tyson Chandler.
Yeah.
That's how we go out. No. You put the pressure on the Rockets. You drop the cash and be like, Clint Capella. Pay him or we'll take him.
And if they get Capella, what does that lineup look like? Do you move Ayton to the 4?
Oh, yeah.
And then that puts Bender on the bench.
Yeah.
Do you think that
100% okay
do you think that screws up the spacing, though? Because we talk about Ayton really dominating in that space because if they're going to be spreading it out,
Ayton's got that shot. Ayton played the 4 in college. Ayton is comfortable in space. He has a good shot. I think he's dominant, and I think that Capella had a fantastic coming out party 2 years ago. Last year, he really showed himself growing. But I think you can pair him with another 4 who is just huge and run 2 bigs who are just unstoppable at that point. Dev Booker shooting from the outside, Josh Jackson the lockdown wing, and mystery at the point guard. Whether it's Okubo, whether it's Brandon Knight, whether it's Elfrid Payton, one way or the other, that ball is going to get some movement around. I think that team is just dynamic at that point.
And real quick, just to shout out Tyson Chandler. In the past 2 years,
I love that man.
True shooting percentage is 68%. Shout out to Tyson.
He has. Have you ever seen Tyson Chandler in shorts?
No.
His legs are incredible.
Impressive?
It's weird because they're not huge. He's walking on twigs.
Are they like tree trunks?
Oh yeah, they're sticks.
He's walking on twigs, and yet not had an injury problem in his later career. So I don't know. It's impressive. I've always liked him. I know that's because we're Chicago and he spent some time here. But
I mean, look at that picture. That dude's a jacked. It's an impressive.
His upper body.
No wonder he went 1 or 2 or 3.
His upper body is just
insane. Ricky, what draft do you like?
I like Dave's Cavs pick. And the reason why I like it is, whether or not LeBron stays or goes, they help themselves out. Because if LeBron stays, they get someone who can like Dave said, put the ball in the hoop. That's how you win games. Thanks, John Madden. But, I mean, they can't have LeBron be the only scorer. And this team showed that, hey, you can drag us to the NBA Finals. But that's as far as you can drag us, LeBron. We got to get you help. And if LeBron leaves, you have a guy who he might not be the same name marquee as LeBron, but he's a guy that, hey, you know what? He can be our next
How do you
scoring
rebuild a
option.
franchise, pretty much? And last time around, they went and got Kyrie. They got, oh, God.
Anthony Bennett.
I know that was a mistake. But, hey, they redeemed themselves with Waiters County.
Yeah, they got Waiters. They got Tristan Thompson.
TT,
Thomas as well.
Andrew Wiggins they drafted too.
Oh, yeah. That was
then
LeBron
LeBron
era,
didn't want
though.
to play with a kid. So.
Well, that was Bron era. Yeah. So they got K-Love. But, yeah. I mean, the Cavs is interesting. I think I like the pick. The only thing, and this is a concern, but I don't think it's too much of a concern for Colin Sexton, is if you're putting a rookie into that situation, it's a lot to ask. So if LeBron stays.
Absolutely.
If LeBron stays,
But I
it's a
think
lot
Colin
to be in
Sexton's a guy who can handle
That's
it.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If there is a kid who can handle it, I think Colin Sexton might be the best fit, just because, again, we saw what he did in Alabama with the pressure on him. He was the guy, and he really stood
physical
out.
guard. It's exactly who you would want out there. If you can ratchet up that defense, I mean, I think he's someone who can translate the skills pretty quickly to the NBA.
And just like LeBron, he's used to going 1-on-5 against guys.
Dang.
So they got that comparison too.
Yeah. I really liked 2 drafts, and unfortunately none of them are mine. I mean, I liked my drafts, but I'm going to agree with you, Dave, on the Suns. I was pissed off you took Okubo from me, and you get DeAndre Ayton. I mean, it's even though I might not think he's the best player in the draft, he's still a fit for the Suns. He's still going to be a good player, and I'm not disagreeing with that. Kings, you get Doncic. I like that. But the one thing that I really liked from you, Dave, is the 76ers draft. You get Zion and Musa. I really think he can be an impressive player down the road, and you get Mikal Bridges. Those two are perfect fits, fit like a glove. Real nice moves there, because again, we look at the Sixers, they have 6 picks, and if they're not trading out, if they're not moving any of them, they're going to need to draft and staff. Zion and Musa could be that guy. And then also, again, we're talking about Mikal Bridges. That's a perfect fit, and they win out if they get Mikal Bridges, because I don't know if Miles is a great fit for them. I think Mikal is, and really, I think the best fit in this draft for the 76ers is Mikal Bridges, and he falls right into your laps at 10. Absolutely perfect draft for them, and it was an easy pick for you.
Yeah,
I imagine. What was worst scenario, you think, for any team, if there is one?
Worst pick?
I mean,
Worst
Mitchell
scenario.
Robinson falling out of
I won't
first
say worst
terrible
pick,
for him.
but yeah, I won't say worst pick, but at least worst scenario, because again,
Define
maybe
what you mean.
Maybe a team got screwed, maybe someone jumped, like I was the Bucks. I was looking at Okubo, and Dave picked Okubo before.
I'm going to say the Jazz, and the reason why I'm saying the Jazz is you look at the first 4 picks that went above them. Lonnie Walker, all right, that's a guy we could have wanted. Then Kyrie Thomas, all right, that's a guy we could have wanted. Troy Brown, fuck, that's a guy we could have wanted. Keita Bates-Diop. Well, now what do we do?
I mean, Troy Brown can't shoot, so that's why I didn't care about him.
I know that, but it's like
I wanted
all
Keita
4
Bates-Diop.
of those guys would be high on the list, I would say, for the Jazz, to where it's like I was kind of glad I didn't have that team, because it's great. What am I going to do there? Because to me, Keita Bates-Diop was the guy
He
that
was my
I've
guy. I
always
had picked,
That's the one that I think the Jazz, if anything, if they really want him, they're going to trade up for him come Thursday.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I still liked Grayson there, but I would have taken Keita if he was on the board.
Yeah.
And the Jazz, again, a lot of these teams, especially, I think Jazz...
The Jazz and the Nuggets are tied together with a kind of free trade.
No, I'm saying Jazz, I'm looking at the Pacers.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the Blazers, 76ers, Celtics, Warriors. They have some room to really make a mistake, or at least go out and get a guy that they really like, because again, you're a playoff team. None of these guys are going to be in your starting lineups right away. Your starting lineups are mostly filled out for these teams. If the Jazz move up, because that's something that has been thrown out there, who are they looking for? What's the aim, especially at 14, if they do take on Fareed's contract and they move up to 14? What's the aim? What's the player, especially looking at our mock draft, who's going to be available?
I think Keita Bates-Diop is the guy, and they're trying to move
14
above.
too high?
They're trying to move above the Bucks. So the Bucks, Spurs, and Hawks. Well, Bucks through T-Wolves are the teams they're trying to move up for. I think it's Keita Bates-Diop, but it could be a Lonnie Walker.
I would just leave it as Kevin Knox right there.
Yeah.
That's their dream, because in my mind, he is a 3-4, leaning more towards the 4, because he sucks at ball handling.
If he falls to that Nugget spot, that Fareed trade I had last time, give me Fareed, I'm taking Kevin Knox there, deal.
People are talking about Kevin Knox possibly being like Toby, and I think we see Toby now pretty much becoming a 4.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I think it's
He needs to fill out though.
He needs to fill out, and he needs a little bit of time. But at the same time, he has the body, he has the potential. He showed us at times when he's engaged, his scoring is there. It's more so, like you said, build up physically, and make sure he's like 100% in, because I think he didn't find his real home while playing in college. Like, he didn't feel comfortable in that offense at any given time, because we watched them transition from one offensive option to another throughout the season, and he never was like that dominant guy for them. So I just think that, like, come NBA, if he goes to a team like the Jazz, like, that is a dream fit for me.
Yeah, and I want to throw out now, since we got about like 10 minutes left before we wrap up this podcast, I want to go to guys that we missed out on. And I want to go to Dave first. A player that really interests me in your 6.0 was Dubrika Suika. Why don't you talk about why they didn't go in the first round?
Didn't go in the first round last time either.
But why didn't they go in the first round? You know what I mean?
Because it's a female Croatian politician.
Okay.
You
want to come clean on your 6.0, Dave?
Yeah, I think you should at this point.
So let's see.
You've given enough time.
There have been a couple comments, and they were right on the comments.
So let's see.
Prospects.
I drafted 2 Malik Newmans. So good, I drafted him twice.
Yep.
I drafted, obviously, Suika was a Croatian politician.
So good, I drafted him twice.
Croatian politician. Greg Hughes,
Dixie
Utah
State
politician. I forget what exact like level, if he was like, representative at the state level, but he's a politician from Utah.
The thing I find...
And good old Keith Jennings from ETSU.
Keith Jennings, who played his college in 1989 to like 92, and then actually got drafted, played in the NBA. He's 5'7", bottle rocket out there.
Ricky and I actually put players that were real in our draft, but Dave said he said before that he was going to slip in some.
Told you before the season started.
I totally forgot you did.
Before the season started, I said by the end of this mock, when we do our round 2, I'm going to have guys in there who you aren't even going to know.
Is Dixie State even a college?
I want to bring that up. It's Dixie State University. And the reason why I bring that up is we got a comment.
Do they even have a basketball team?
Yes, they do.
They do.
They do. They're like the Bison. And the commenter I want to throw out is Tronix Gaming said, "Who's Greg Hughes? He's not on Dixie State."
I like how he looked it up.
Yeah, because I looked it up right after that. Dixie State University basketball team.
When he said
home of the Bison.
When he
Greg
said
Hughes
Dixie
is,
State,
Utah
and he
State
said
representative.
Yeah, when he said Dixie State and ETSU, I was like, Jesus Christ, Dave. Like,
Yeah.
I knew you're fucking around with that one. But let's talk about the guys that didn't go. Let's talk about the guys that are in the second round that maybe we're missing out on. Maybe that should be in there. Jerome Robinson from Boston College is one of them. When we look at a guy like Amari Spellman from Villanova, Dante DiVincenzo from Villanova, good old Mo Wagner from Michigan, Jalen Brunson went, Anthony
Mitchell
went,
Robinson?
Raleigh Elkins. Mitchell Robinson went.
Did he?
Didn't he? Yeah, I took him
I'm
at
talking
15.
about the Wizards.
With the Wizards.
Oh, not Mitchell. Who's the other?
Robert Williams.
Robert Williams.
Williams.
The one.
Wow, he didn't even.
That's the one.
And he's a guy that we've had mocked like lottery.
I think the problem is like we don't like traditional centers.
No,
Like,
I don't
we'll
like.
just be honest. Like
any of the-
I don't like
value.
his hustle. So
The only two teams I could see, like, after the Clippers, after the Wizards,
Lakers
it's like,
could take 'em.
Well,
Lakers.
the Lakers,
But
they could
I
probably
don't-
be the one, but everyone else,
I'd rather take
otherwise, it's like, I'm not, like, no other team needs a center. Like, the Bulls took Mo Bamba, the Suns took DeAndre Ayton. It's like, we're not going to double up
the
on
Bucks
one.
could have. To be fair, the Bucks could have.
But, I mean, I like
agree.
Lonnie Walker.
The Spurs could have. And
but who do you think is your favorite prospect that fell in the second round?
The Warriors could have, too. But
They got Jordan Bell. They have that one
Bell
kid
there.
too.
Yeah.
Who's the kid that
JaVale
went
McGee?
the year before? He's a young player.
Kevin Looney.
Not Kevin Looney. There's another guy. I'll look him up.
Okay.
I can't
The
think of
guy
his name.
that I'm thinking about was, although I don't think he'll go in the first round, is Mo Wagner. And the reason why I think it's interesting is because I was the Hawks. If I would have changed, like if you wouldn't have went Luka at 2, and if Luka goes to the Hawks at 3,
Damian Jones.
Damian Jones. Then I think that changes the Hawks pick, because if the Hawks get Luka instead of one of the bigs, then at 30, I'm not thinking like a guy like Jalen Brunson. I'm thinking, where's my big and where's my 4, and I can get Mo Wagner to help out at the 4 and help out down low.
All right, and I think the one guy that really sticks out to me is Landry Shamet. He's a guy that's going to fit in the NBA. It just depends on where he goes.
Does he go in the first round?
No, because we just drafted the first
could.
round. He
No,
doesn't
I
go.
mean like on Thursday when the real GMs are doing this.
I think so. I think really he starts to pick up once the Jazz get involved. So I think 21 and down, that's his range. I was thinking about taking him at 24 with the Trailblazers. There are even the Warriors too. It could be a good fit. And I was even thinking about taking him at 29 with the Nets. But I ended up going away from it. Any other guys that you like?
I think a guy who has been rising late is honestly Goga. He's an international player.
Didn't he? I thought he pulled out.
Did he pull out?
I think he
'Cause
pulled
if
out.
So then I'm just done.
I think there was the international thing that they like the international cutoff, and I think he pulled out.
Oh, shit.
I'm not entirely sure about that.
We're
but
gonna fact check live.
Pretty sure.
Yeah,
he
it was
withdrew.
June 11th.
There we go.
Yep.
So yeah, no, then I'm not surprised.
Very cool.
Not surprised he did not go.
Anybody else? Ricky?
No, not
All right.
really.
Here's what I want to bring up since we have a couple minutes. Let's look back at the 1.0. All right, the first mock
this is
draft
bad. This is
we
tabs
ever
away.
did. All right.
I like this.
So
I love it.
I had DeAndre Ayton going number 1. I had Luka Doncic going number 2. I had Michael Porter going 3. Marvin Bagley going 4. Mikal Bridges going 5. Mo Bamba going 6. Miles Bridges going 7. Colin Sexton going 8. Jaren Jackson going 9. And the 10, Trey Young going. Kevin Knox 11. And then my bad one is Hamidou Diallo at 12.
Dude.
Here is your guys' top 10.
I'm terrible.
Mine's not
DeAndre
terrible.
Ayton. You have Bruce Brown in your top 10, brother.
Probably
That's
he's the
why.
only pick though that is bad on mine. That and Hamidou. are my
Wendell
only
Carter's
bad
not even
luck.
our top 15.
No, because no one was high on
I had him
Wendell
at
Carter
16.
until
I had him
like,
at 16 too.
no one like okay,
Ooh,
there were a
Trayvon Duval's
few,
up there.
but
Yep.
Wendell Carter
To
didn't
be fair,
really start
we literally
growing
just-
until the tournament.
We came back after watching that game, so like I was really high on Hamidou and Trayvon.
But yeah, DeAndre Ayton, Luka Doncic, Michael Porter, Marvin Bagley, Mikal Bridges, Mo Bamba, Miles Bridges, Colin Sexton, Jaren Jackson, Trey Young is my top 10. DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, Luka Doncic, Michael Porter, Miles Bridges, Mo Bamba, Trey Young, Colin Sexton, Mikal Bridges, Bruce Brown is Ricky's top 10. Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, Trey Young, Marvin Bagley, Michael Porter Jr., Mo Bamba, Mikal Bridges, Colin Sexton, Jaren Jackson, and Bruce Brown is Dave's top 10. Daniel Gafford's in there. Gary Trent Jr.'s in there. Brandon McCoy's in there.
Okay,
Trayvon Duval, Hamidou
Gafford
Diallo.
withdrew though, so like
Yeah.
if he didn't withdraw,
He
I
would've been
think
a
he's still a first round.
Yeah, Chimezi Matu's in there.
Yeah, that one I was way high on because I watched him in the NIT. and
Lonzo
then
Trier, Nikiel, Alexander Walker. Who else is in there? Shake Milton's in there.
Shake Milton, Gary Trent Jr. in the first round,
Shake Milton can go,
Justin Jackson.
Brandon McCoy in the first round.
though. Looking at mine, though, Andrew Jones got cancer, unfortunately, so he pulled out. So
Yeah.
he could have been a guy. So I'm not taking that too far off on mine. Nikiel Alexander Walker had a good
Is
start
this
to the
just
season. That was
Sean
my bad
trying to
one.
toot his own horn?
Yes.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hamidou Diallo and Trayvon Duval are the biggest misses
What
on mine.
about Brandon McCoy? I mean, he's not anywhere near the first round anymore.
Yep.
I had him in the first round in my 6.0.
Yeah, you had him 19 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had him
1.0.
my 6.0. I had him in where did I have him at? My 6.0. I had him at where is he at? Brandon McCoy was
You had him in the
32.
second round.
So like biggest
Well,
riser in
31.
the top 10 has been obviously Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yep.
He was someone who we all had on the outside, and I think you knew like the problem was he's not flashy.
No.
He's the opposite of flashy.
And
you have
it's
to
like-
watch him play.
It's like
to,
Sean said
really
yesterday when
pay-
we were out to dinner. Hey, look, a Michigan State game, and Jaren Jackson's not on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, he's only out there for half the game, but at the same time, like when he's out there, he's impactful. So it's a question.
Final thoughts on the NBA draft. We're done, boys. We're done.
The actual draft, though,
I can't.
Well, yeah, I know, but like NBA draft mocks, we're done. I'll be covering the NBA draft. Also, we're doing a live stream. Join us when the NBA starts. We'll be live on YouTube, and I will be. Well, not we. I'll be here.
Yeah, it's Sean
filming
Solo.
my fucking self. It's gonna be good. It's gonna
You
be a
know
fun
what's the
time.
one thing we haven't decided that I
What?
would really like to do? Sometime after the draft, we got a comment where someone's like, do a 2019 way too early.
yes,
I think we dive into it right after the draft.
Can we
Not
just do, like,
the
a
week
to-
after.
Can we just do like a
but
top 10?
yes.
Yeah, lottery.
I don't want to.
2 rounds,
a lottery.
2 rounds.
No,
Wait,
I'm not even a lottery. It's just 10 picks.
It's 4 extra picks.
I want a break. Maybe we'll do that in August.
you guys
We'll
all
do that
see
in
more
Not
September.
August. I'm taking like a break after the draft a little bit, and then
Let
do
us
it
know
way
if you
too
guys
early.
want a way too early mock.
I would
during
love to
summer.
do it.
I want a break. I want a break.
Dave and I'll do it.
But we'll be doing a live stream day of the NBA draft. Once the NBA draft starts, I will be live covering the NBA draft. These two nerds will be in VidCon. And then right after the NBA draft's over, I will be recording reactions, podcast, everything. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you rate. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Most Valuable Pod. It's been a fun season, 2018 NBA mock draft. We did a live lottery. We did a live mock draft. We did 7 whole. Technically, we did 8. 8 mock
yeah.
drafts
Because of
with the
the
live
live
lotto. So we did 8 mock drafts. Let us
lot.
know what you've enjoyed, what you hated,
And a full
let us know
two-rounder.
who you like. The camera's off, but it's okay. It's not too bad. We appreciate it. We appreciate all your support. This has been one of our best years so far, and it's not even over. This has been our best year so far. We appreciate all your support. We appreciate all your love. We might have the highest ever viewed video soon too. It's already at 30K, and I think our record's 36K. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. We appreciate it. To all of our patrons, I want to name them. I'm gonna name them. All right, we're gonna name Pat. We're going to name Matt. We're going to name Christian. We're going to name Jake. Even if you haven't been on our podcast, I still love you. We're going to name Z. Who doesn't love Z? We're going to name... Is Brandon technically still a patron?
Brandon is still.
Okay, Brandon's still a patron.
I'm going to see how many you can name off the top of your head.
Oh, I got to get a count because I know there's 10. Pat, Matt, Z, Jake, Dallas, Brandon, Matt, Pat.
You're missing one that was on the fast break.
Christian. Did I say Christian?
You did?
Yeah.
Wait. Someone else count me.
So, Christian,
Matt, Pat, Bill, Z, Jake, Brandon, Dallas.
did you already say Dallas?
I did Dallas in the first one.
Here's one that is an onside kick guy, Shane from Canada.
Oh, yes, Shane from Canada. He's
And
a
then
Colts fan.
also the last two that I don't expect you to get because they're not at the $10 tier. We've got Sean, who's at the $2 tier.
No, not me.
And Hubertus from,
Oh,
I
yes,
believe,
Hubertus.
Germany.
I remember him.
Who's at the $2 tier.
Yes,
as well.
our buddy. All right, yeah, all right. Well, thank you guys all so much. I appreciate it. It's been a fun year. You guys rock, and we're gonna end this. It's been great. For the Fast Break Podcast, I'm Sean Anderson.
Do your
That's Dave
housekeeping?
Oster. Good Patreon.
Okay.
I said iTunes. I said all this shit. You guys fucking know. This has been the Fast Break Podcast. For Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time. And enjoy the NBA draft.